So that's exactly what I'm doing. And now, boom, surprise attack on the inside by Dave. Now, this is Dave's move. And guys, if your move isn't from 200 meters, then don't wait for 200 meters, because the guys like me who thrive from 200 meters to go are going to take advantage of that. So I have to respond, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm going to start my sprint from 400 meters to go, but here's my little trick. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Super excited to talk about today's race. But before we get into it, I want to welcome back my frenemy, Mr. Brian Larsen, Redbeard himself. Welcome back to the channel, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. Yeah, the beard is growing long and frizzy as always, as it does in January and February. Keeping myself warm.
You've let yourself go, Brian. That was the first thing I noticed when we jumped on this call. And for those of you who are listening and don't get to see Brian right now, let me just paint a picture for you. There is a glisten off the bicked dome. There is not a completely bald dome, and then the big bushy beard. It's the Brian standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to see you, man. Good to have you back. Let's get into this race, though, because like I said, dude, I am so excited about today's race. Let's hit the teams real fast. No surprise, we have San Jose Bike Club, one of the major teams, in this light blue jersey. Maybe 4 or 5 of them, and then Thirsty Bear out again today, led by Jerome, their sprinter, in also this light blue kit. They were the two major teams. I'm Team Mike's Bikes. I'm going solo. And one of the interesting things about today's race, other than, by the way, back by popular demand, chest mount. I kind of like this perspective. I think I'm going to do this more often. But Alviso without any wind, a strangely, eerily calm day at Alviso, where we usually have rip and crosswinds. And as you can see from the footage, that affects the way that I race. I am allowing myself to fall back to 20th wheel, to 30th wheel even, and be really conservative with my energy, because when there isn't much wind, it's much harder for a breakaway to get away. So I'm not completely tuned out. Like, I'm still paying attention to these little moves here and there that are getting away, but I'm looking at the composition of the group, and I'm only responding when I absolutely have to. And on a day like today, it's calm. Brian, like, I can move up at any point on this course. There is no point on this course where it's like a rip and crosswind on a day like today. So that allows me to be really conservative with my energy.
Yeah, I think, the catch here is that, okay, no break can get away, but that also means, the inverse of that is also true for the sprint, which is like everybody and anybody is probably fresh for the sprint. So
everybody becomes a sprinter. Yeah, it is a funny thing that happens. Yeah. So actually, let's fast forward quite a bit, because the first 40 minutes of this race were like pretty chill. Like, I didn't do a whole lot. I was saving a lot of my energy for the sprint finish, as were many others. So let's go check that out.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, we are 3 kilometers to go. We cut out 95% of this race because, to be honest, without wind, it wasn't very eventful. Like, I sat in, I covered a couple of moves, but there wasn't a whole lot going on. And now, coming into 1 lap to go, I'm up a little bit too close to the front. Maybe there's one guy off the front. Now Jerome just loses the wheel. Where are your teammates at? Like, I don't know what he's thinking, because I wasn't born yesterday. If he's expecting me to close this gap down, nuh-uh, ain't gonna happen. So I asked him where his teammates are, and he grunts, and then he just closes it down himself, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I think it's just a sign that, when everyone has a few extra bullets left in the chamber, the game's definitely begin with 1 lap to go, right? Everyone's kind of eyeing up their competition. I'm sure that was a test by Jerome to see
if I would bite.
Yeah, exactly.
but I didn't, and in fact, I want to fall back a little bit here, so that's what I've done. And this is interesting. Like, what, 3-4 riders wide, still a group of 30-40 riders even at Alviso on the last lap. You don't see that too often. Usually the crosswind just tears this group apart. But yeah, a day like today, everyone fancies themselves a sprinter, a field sprinter. So I'm gonna try to navigate this space, and it can get a little bit sketchy here when the race has been this easy on a calm day. So let's see how I navigate things. And I'll tell you right now, what's going on in my head is I want to save every drop of energy as possible until 200 meters to go or so. And I see myself falling back a little bit too far right there. And I see that gap right there, like maybe 5-6 bike lengths. That looks a little bit sketchy. So I do want to make sure I'm not at the back of the peloton, because I still want to, keep track of what's going on at the front. And now I'm battling the wheel here a little bit, because I want to get behind Big Dave here in the blue, who just checked back over his left shoulder. And I'm battling this SJBC rider on my right. And hey, once my handlebars are in front of his, that's my wheel to take. And that's exactly what I do. Now I'm really loving my position. Brian, what are you thinking? I'm like, 12th wheel with 1,400 meters to go, looking pretty good.
Yeah, I would say like on the windy condition days, things change, but on a really high speed, no wind day, there shouldn't be, I should say, any slowdowns between now and the finish line. But right as I say that, I eat my own words, and there's a little
big
bit
slowdown right as you say that. Yeah, and I find myself almost by accident moving up too far to the front, and that's when this big attack goes on the left.
Yeah, and I think it's really about surfing this, and it's not really that much different than other days when it's super windy at Alviso, where you have to be attentive no matter what. Inside 1K to go, you have to respond to moves. You have to be aware of, like, if Penn Velo here, who you're on their wheels, do they have a team up there? And I think they do, right, Jeff?
Yeah, and so San Jose doesn't. So the San Jose guy takes a pole. Now these Penn Velo guys are going to take a pole, chasing their teammate. Don't know why. # don't chase your teammates, guys. But I'm gonna take advantage of that, because if we're going 30 miles an hour, I'm gonna want to be in the draft. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And now, boom, surprise attack on the inside by Dave. Now this is Dave's move. And guys, if your move isn't from 200 meters, then don't wait for 200 meters, because the guys like me who thrive from 200 meters to go are going to take advantage of that. So I have to respond, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm going to start my sprint from 400 meters to go, but here's my little trick. I'm going to sit down after about 100 meters of sprinting. I'm checking, and now I'm really selling the fact that I'm tired, but really I got another couple of bullets in the chamber, and that's when I step on it one more time and I pull the old double sprint.
Yeah, I think you're lucky that you have that double sprint. I think if it was a windy day, Jeff, I think this would have been completely different. So you're lucky that it was a little bit of a softer day. And Dave played his move at the end there, and I think we should probably go back and take another look at.
Yeah, let's check it out one more time. All right, 640 meters to go. What's going on? We have 3 riders off the front still, and now the first firework's about to explode. That's in the form of Super Dave on my right. Hey, Brian, Super Dave comes from the track. You come from the track. Tell us about the timing of this attack.
Well, it's really brilliant, because at the end of the day, this move puts you behind 2 decelerating riders, and he's just running away with it. And you're likely on the brakes through these double corner, and it kind of leaves you on your heels opening into the final straightaway here. And, it forces you to respond immediately, else he's gone.
Totally. No, you hit the nail on the head. I have to launch this attack. Now I do a big surge in power, 1,400 watts. I try to get a gap, but I can't sustain this. And by the way, it didn't work. You just check back right there. There's a guy in my wheel in my draft, and I cannot do over 1,000 watts for the last 400 meters. So I'm going to do something that only works once per season, guys. I'm checking. I've sat back down. Look at my powers come down. And now I have to do 2 things. I have to keep Dave on a leash, and I have to figure out a way to beat these guys behind me. With them in my draft, I'm just going to lead them out if I just continue sprinting. So I slow it down. Now here's the moment right here. When they come out of my draft, that's key. The moment they come out of my draft, I hit them with the double sprint. This is the rope-a-dope. And once they're out of my draft, they're hitting the wind, just like I'm hitting the wind. All things are equal. And the only reason I'm able to light the afterburners here is because I was so conservative with my energy for the first 95% of this race that I was able to light up a second sprint, catch Dave here with 40 meters to go, and pull down another Alviso win. So stoked. Props to Dave, by the way, too, because we were talking about this earlier, Brian and I, and it's like the once per season or the once per year move that works could apply to both Dave and my move, right?
That move will win a non-sprinter. It will win them at least 1 race per year doing that maneuver.
Totally. Don't let sprinters like me let it come down to 200 meters. Like Dave put the fear of God into me in the last 400 meters there, and really forced me to make magic happen. And to be honest, I got pretty lucky that worked out for me. Dave's move was great, and I really love seeing awesome strategy like that in these races. It's fun to talk about. Hopefully you guys learned something. Brian, great having you on as always, and catch you guys at the next one.
Thank you.